Ladies and gentlemen, in a world where we're endlessly rushing toward the next goal, the next task, or the next moment, we often miss the most important place of all, the present. Alan Watts, a brilliant thinker who seamlessly wove Eastern philosophy with Western thought, once declared, "This is the real secret of life, to be completely engaged with what you are doing in the here and now, and instead of calling it work. Realize it is play, but what does it truly mean to live in the present? Why is it so vital to our happiness and well-being? Let us dive into the profound wisdom of being fully immersed in the here and now, a lesson that, if embraced, has the power to transform how we live, love, and experience life itself. Living in the present moment is not simply a philosophical ideal, it is the very essence of life. Ladies and gentlemen, think about how often we're caught in the endless loops of yesterday, replaying our regrets, clinging to fleeting memories, or pondering over mistakes we can no longer change. At the same time, we project ourselves into a future filled with anxiety, ambition, or uncertainty. Alan Watts reminds us with clarity and compassion that the past is gone and the future is but a projection of the mind. The only reality, the only truth we have is this moment, right here, right now. The beauty of the present, dear friends, is that it asks so little of us. All it demands is awareness. To Watts, living in the present is the key to breaking free from the mental prisons we create for ourselves. When we allow ourselves to focus solely on what is happening in the now, we are liberated from the weight of what if and the sorrow of what was. Take a moment to think about the last time you experienced true joy. Perhaps it was watching the sky blush with the colors of sunset, laughing uncontrollably with a dear friend, or savoring the first sip of coffee on a quiet morning. In those fleeting moments, you were not consumed by thoughts of tomorrow's problems or yesterday's troubles. You were simply being. And in that state of being, you found peace. But how, ladies and gentlemen, do we achieve this state of presence amidst the distractions of our modern world? Watts, ever the gentle guide, invites us to start with the small things. Feel the cool earth beneath your feet. Listen to the rustle of the leaves or the hum of the city. Taste every bite of your food as if it's the first time you've ever eaten it. With every conscious moment, you become more alive, more awake. Life stops being a relentless sprint to the next task and instead transforms into a series of beautiful, interconnected moments. And when we live in the present, something extraordinary happens. We begin to connect more deeply. We connect with ourselves, with others, and with the world around us. Ask yourselves, how often do we hear without truly listening? How often do we see without truly looking? Presence calls us to engage fully, to nurture relationships, and to savor the beauty of life in its raw, unfiltered form. Alan Watts, with his poetic brilliance, likened life to a piece of music. We don't dance to get to a certain spot on the floor. We dance to enjoy the movement itself. Similarly, ladies and gentlemen, we do not live merely to reach some imagined destination. We live for the journey, for the twists, the turns, the unexpected stops, and the moments of stillness. To be present is not merely to exist, it is to truly live. It is, as Watts might say, the grand play of life, unfolding moment by moment, inviting us to join in and dance. Let us dive deeply into the concept of living in the present, a notion that Alan Watts beautifully emphasized as the key to understanding life's essence. Living in the present isn't merely a poetic idea or a philosophical abstraction. It is the foundation of a fulfilled, authentic existence. In a world constantly driven by deadlines, ambitions, and distractions, living in the present reminds us to return to the only thing that truly exists, the here and now. Alan Watts often compared life to a dance or a piece of music. The joy of a song doesn't lie in its conclusion, but in experiencing every note, every rhythm, every pause. Similarly, life's purpose is not to rush toward an imagined future or remain trapped in the shadows of the past, but to immerse ourselves fully in the moment we are experiencing right now. Watts argued that when we fail to live in the present, we miss out on the beauty of existence itself. The present is not merely a fleeting instance in time, it is where life unfolds moment by moment. Consider how much of our mental energy is spent worrying about what's next or ruminating on what's already gone. We replay scenarios, think of what could have been, or agonize over what might happen. Yet Watts reminds us that the past is unchangeable and the future is not guaranteed. The only reality we have is this moment. The act of living in the present is liberating because it frees us from these mental shackles, offering a sense of peace and clarity that cannot be found elsewhere. Living in the present also requires a profound awareness of our surroundings and ourselves. It is an invitation to notice the seemingly small details we often overlook: the warmth of the sun on our skin, the gentle rustle of leaves, or the laughter of a loved one. When we live fully in the present, we begin to see that every moment carries its own form of magic. Life becomes more vibrant, more colorful, and infinitely richer when we bring our full attention to the now. Moreover, living in the present strengthens our relationships. It allows us to truly listen when someone speaks, to feel deeply, and to respond genuinely. It teaches us that connection with others and with the universe isn't found in grand gestures or distant dreams, but in being fully present for the moments we share. To live in the present, as Watts teaches, is to finally begin living. The beauty of awareness in the present moment lies in its ability to liberate us from the burdens of our own minds. Alan Watts eloquently taught that the present moment is not just a fleeting point in time, but the only true reality we ever have. While our minds often pull us into the past or the future, the present moment demands nothing but our attention and awareness. In this simplicity lies its profound power. Awareness is about tuning into the richness of the now. It requires us to consciously shift our focus away from the endless chatter of our minds and instead direct it toward what is unfolding around and within us. Watts compared this practice to stepping out of a noisy room and into the stillness of a garden. Only then can we notice the intricate details: the soft breeze, the chirping of birds, the delicate scent of flowers that we were oblivious to before. Similarly, when we become aware of the present, we uncover layers of life's beauty that were always there, hidden beneath the noise of our thoughts. Take a moment to reflect on a time when you truly felt at peace. Perhaps it was watching the sun set over the horizon, walking barefoot on the beach, or savoring a perfectly brewed cup of tea. What made these moments special was not their grandeur, but your presence within them. You weren't distracted by regrets about the past or worries about the future. You were simply there. Watts teaches us that such awareness is the key to experiencing life in its fullness. It allows us to step out of the mental prisons of what if and what was, and into the freedom of simply being. This awareness is also deeply restorative. When we stop and truly notice the present, we begin to understand that life isn't just about achieving or striving, it's about experiencing. This shift in perspective can transform even the most mundane activities into meaningful rituals. Washing the dishes, for example, is no longer just a chore, but an opportunity to feel the warm water on your hands or notice the rhythm of your movements. Awareness turns routine into mindfulness and mindfulness into peace. By cultivating present moment awareness, we also deepen our connection with others. Truly being present with someone, listening without judgment, looking without distraction, allows for authentic relationships to flourish. Watts believed that in this awareness lies the essence of life itself, the joy of being fully alive, right here and right now. Alan Watts often compared life to music, reminding us that the purpose of music is not to reach a particular note or finish the piece as quickly as possible, but to enjoy every note, every beat, every pause. Similarly, he taught that the purpose of life is not about rushing to the end or achieving a final goal, but savoring the journey itself. This profound analogy urges us to rethink the way we live, transforming our perspective on what it truly means to experience life. In a world driven by deadlines, ambitions, and the pursuit of success, many of us treat life as though it's a race to the finish line. We hurry from one task to another, believing that happiness lies in the next achievement, the next milestone, or the next destination. However, Watts challenged this notion, asking, what if life is not about arriving, but about dancing through each moment? The idea is revolutionary. It frees us from the illusion that happiness exists only in some distant future and invites us to find joy in the here and now. To embrace this perspective is to realize that life is not a checklist of accomplishments, but a series of unfolding moments, each with its own beauty and significance. Imagine climbing a mountain with the sole focus of reaching the top. If we're consumed by the end goal, we may miss the sound of the wind through the trees, the breathtaking views along the way, or the feeling of the earth beneath our feet. But if we approach the climb as a journey to be savored, every step becomes meaningful. This shift in mindset changes not only how we experience life, but also how we measure its success, not by outcomes, but by the richness of our experiences. This philosophy also teaches us to find balance between action and appreciation. Life is not about passively floating along, nor is it about constant striving. It's about dancing between effort and enjoyment. When we understand this, even the challenges we face take on a new light. They are no longer obstacles to happiness, but part of the dance, an essential rhythm in the music of life. Watt's metaphor of life as music encourages us to approach each day with curiosity, mindfulness, and gratitude. Whether we are at a peak or in a valley, life is unfolding in all its vibrancy, inviting us to immerse ourselves fully in its melody. The key, as Watts beautifully conveyed, is not to rush through the song, but to dance to its rhythm, moment by moment.